Child wise. No. Great. How Mahesh, what was the question?
Like coming to big five competencies in any organization,
Hmm.
like all the behavioral competencies will be just considered into big five competencies, or else we can just exclude few of them. What generally I'm just feeling like we can just consider every behavioral aspect into big five competency, but yeah, my current I'm just checking with you it's correct or not.
See, I'll tell you what. First is on the number of competencies.
Okay.
This varies. Anything between 3 and 12 or 10 competencies can be taken up. But
Okay.
on an average, as an industry average, 5 to 6 competencies are only considered.
Okay.
Why? Because more the number of competencies, complex becomes the review process. Now, it's always better to use behavioral aspects in competencies. Because if
Okay.
there is some skill that you are adding in competency, see, skills are trainable. Let's say the skill is let's say in this digital marketing manager job, this
Yeah.
person does not know how to, let's say, on leverage on a particular channel. Let's say he does not know how to use YouTube.
Okay.
Now there is no point adding YouTube as a competency, because that is 2 days training I'll give and he will learn YouTube.
Yes.
Skills can be
That's
learned, skills can
yes.
be trained. So we should avoid these trainable, coachable things, and you should bring all the elements that is pertaining to behavior that takes more time to change,
Okay.
and those are very inherent.
Got
It
it.
is always advisable to cover behavioral aspect in competencies.
Yeah, got your point.
Chalo,
And
so
in
mhm.
generally, like if we are seeing any organization competency structure,
Uh-huh.
majorly they'll focused on behavioral aspects, 80 to 85%,
That makes
and
sense
10 to
actually. In fact, I was reviewing the case. There is a trainee with me who is this girl is working with JC Penny. She's a
okay,
part of the L&D team of JC Penny.
okay,
And JC Penny, they are currently creating the competency structure for their teams.
is it?
And that's why she
And
has come to Mahesh.
can we add like any kind of this it's like kind of analytical or else this kind of visual based things to this competencies,
Visual based things like,
especially like how he'll be just taking the decision. Suppose if we are just presenting a picture, how his thought process would be.
that's a behavior. That's an
Okay.
inherent ability of taking a decision.
Yeah.
That is pretty much required. If the role
Yes.
requires it, you should have that kind of competency. See,
Because
showing picture is nothing but an assessment method.
yeah.
It's a psychometric assessment method that evaluates
Okay.
your thought process.
Got it.
I usually avoid doing that assessment because that better it is done in supervision of some psychologist, because it can expose your inner self.
Yes.
It's a very simple, I show a picture to all of you, and
Yes.
all of you will interpret in a very different way,
Okay.
Yeah.
and all that will expose your inherent, you know the forces
Thoughts.
inside you.
Yes.
You might have some inhibitions. Maybe you might have some, it happens, no, when you're, if you are scared of something, why are you scared of something?
Yes.
Let's say there are people who are scared of heights, people they are scared of water. There is
So,
something inside them that is stopping them.
I
Yeah.
have seen a picture like this when like a same picture which we can depict that one in a older lady another one in a very youth lady. So
Hmm.
the back of the one is given.
Hmm.
So I could only see the older version of that lady, but some of my other teammates could see the other person.
See, that sounds very good exercise.
Okay.
When I was doing my certifications, we were a group of almost 17 participants,
Hmm.
and we were given this, and
Okay.
we were well excited. Some old men lying, and some, someone is dying, someone looks like, and we created our own stories. And the instructor started, decoding the stories,
Okay.
and we were scared to share our stories with her. You know, it exposed us ki what is, someone can see misery in a photograph, someone
Hmm.
can see sorrow in it, someone can see some kind of lust in it, all
Okay.
Yes.
those things, and all those things are nothing. It is nothing in the image. It is all
And
inside, all inside
the
your head.
recent thing what we see in about Myntra, na, it's very just lots of folks are discussing on LinkedIn everywhere
Uh-huh.
about that.
They have enough time to do that. so so it has it, and whatever you see, it simply reflects what is there inside you.
Yeah.
That is, we call it as TAT.
Yes.
This test is known as thematic appreciation test,
Okay.
where we read, and this is also used to you know do the exercise with you to bring you out of it. I avoid doing it because I'm not a trained psychologist,
Okay.
and this can I you read something, and I add a meaning to it. Oh, you have faced this, you have faced this. I cannot give you the complete solution. I'll disturb you even more. And that is the only reason I don't even, I have all those tools with me. I have all those images with me that we have gone through. I don't touch them. I would be doing MBTI with you, and I'll be doing another assessment which tests your motives.
Okay.
What
Which is
what
that?
what are your career motives, or what drives you?
Okay.
Someone might be driven by money. Like last
Okay.
session we discussed about Kritik, no?
Hmm.
Whatever little I have known about Kritik till now, for me Kritik is someone who is driven by meaning in work.
Hmm.
And Kritik, when will look for assignment, will only look for a work which serves this purpose.
Okay.
There could be another one. There could be Kritik number two, who only means money.
Hmm.
Because all that is fine, end of the day I should get this much of money. Does
Hmm.
not matter what work is given to me.
Okay.
Does not matter if you don't give me a work. Only I have to say yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. Keep paying me money every month, and best possible, if not every month, at least 6 month, 1 year, keep increasing my money. So my sole focus is on money. And this becomes very important while selecting a candidate is, if a candidate, like let me talk about my venture. If I have to recruit someone, and I have
Hmm.
made these mistakes in the beginning, I recruited people with good faith, and I took people who were not doing well. I thought, chalo, they will learn with me and they will grow. But I failed to realize, no, the only driving force for them was money.
Oh.
And running a bootstrapped venture, you will always be short of funds. And any person who is only working for money is not a good, they may have good qualities in them. They may be technically very sound, but still I cannot fulfill their desire. I would need, and that's how it happened during lockdown. I had to leave all that team, and I was working on my own. And then I got a team for marketing. These guys have been working for me with me for last 3 months. They are why they are working. It's not for the money. They are working because they have seen potential in this business and they have understood. They like the vision with it. Now that's how you have to choose a candidate, and
Okay.
this is where psychometrics have been, effectively being used these days.
Okay.
Your qualification is immaterial, your experience is immaterial. What are those competencies that are needed at job? Do you have them? And this is where they say no, a person should be cultural fit or organizational fit. You would have heard these terms a lot, right?
Absolutely.
What do you think is a cultural fit?
Aligned with that company in mentally.
A person should have those values and beliefs whatever the organization
Exactly,
has.
exactly. So now, if for me, someone who wants to work with me could be culturally fit if they have a vision like me and they believe in my vision. Because I may not make money for years. Have you read the story of Paytm?
Yes. Long back.
Paytm, I think this was idea who came to, this was 2015 or 2017 when it was, I mean, good. They were for 2 3 years, and this story is by that the I forgot the name, whatever the name of that gentleman is, the owner of Paytm. He said for years we were moneyless. We didn't had enough money to have meals for 2 times. That was the time that they have gone through. Now suddenly this GST thing came up. The sorry,
Demonetization.
demonetization came up, and then they became huge because then Paytm was extensively used. Till that time, they were struggling. It's not that he was alone, he still had some people. They stuck with him because they believed in a value. They believed in कि if not today, tomorrow Paytm will be big. And those are the people that you should be hiring. They believe in your mission, value. And companies have started realizing it, and this is where a lot of psychometrics have come in. Right, Mahesh, that answers your question or takes you to a different tangent? Mahesh, you still there or I ran away?
It's not right. It seems.
I think his network has gone. Chalo, we'll move. Now he's coming back. Oh Mahesh, I lost you. I thought you were fed up with the answer and you ran away.
Hello.
Yeah, Mahesh, could you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I thought you ran away with the answer.
No, no, I got a call. I
Okay,
got
okay.
I got a call.
Chalo. So
Yeah.
let's understand what bars are and how
Yes.
these challenges will help you create a bar. So we'll
Yes.
understand what are the overview, behavioral, and I'll quickly come to the competency matrix. We have done enough. We have discussed enough. I'll simply skip it. Benefits also we have spoken a lot about it. One of the prime benefit of competency frameworks is it eliminates any kind of bias in the system. Bias could be in terms of hiring, that your hiring manager feels this candidate is good. It could be personal bias. It could be that bias that I feel is good. It's not about what you feel. Like for instance, attitude. If I ask this question to all of you, What is my attitude? The answers might differ because each one of you will think attitude in a different way. And
Yes.
when happening, when such processes are happening, interviews, appraisals, training, we should try to avoid these biased things, and which is where competency frameworks gives a complete structure. It is not about what the interviewer feels, it is about what matches the framework. So one of the biggest advantages, it eliminates all kind of bias, it eliminates all kind of subjectivity in the system, and the decision making is more effective. The key points to cover, while this is one point we missed, chalo we'll add it here. What is the key that you should keep in mind while designing a competency framework, which begins with a job description? The description should be as specific as possible to remove any traces of ambiguity. So while I was reviewing this job description of Debelina, I could easily make out, at some point in time, it was not specific, it was very generic. The biggest mistake we make is we create a generic job description.
Yes.
Today I was in a discussion. It was a good connection, 4 5 HR resources, and there was a lady who is into recruitment and was, yeah, I get 100 applications, 70 are irrelevant and all those things. I said all that is fine. Why are you not working on how to reduce number of irrelevant applications? Do you guys have any idea why these irrelevant applications are coming? Or for that matter, if you are a job seeker, why do these irrelevant application goes? Even I recently made a job posting on LinkedIn. I got some 30 40 odd applications. Majority of them were not of not were of not any use. How can we
It's
bring
like
it down?
because of,
Hmm.
yeah, if we are clear about the responsibilities and what we are looking, then we can get an exact match. If we are just putting a generic description either on LinkedIn or anything, generally people will assume, they'll consider and they'll be applied. That's why we are getting irrelevant.
Correct. That we have to
Yes.
be very specific in the job posting. Job posting
Yes.
is derived out of a job description. So job description has to be very specific. What are
Yeah.
some vague elements in the job description?
I'll just give a
Graduation.
small
Hmm.
like a small example for this, Vivek bhai.
Hmm.
When I was in my initial stage of the career into recruitment,
Hmm.
when we are posting, like all my teammates will post on LinkedIn or else will post on Facebook, anything like any social marketing, just kind of
Hmm.
professional network. So, what the major mistake done by some folks while just posting, they are not being specific in terms of responsibilities or else in terms of experience, then they are not getting the exact number. So, the
Exactly.
major thing,
Some of the vague elements in the job description of job posting is graduation in any stream,
yeah,
preferably an MBA. Now see how it attracts people. So who you are?
yes,
I am a BA in arts. I'm BA in Hindi literature. I'm BA in psychology. I'm BA in sociology. I could be any subject. I may be BSc. I may be BSc physics, BSc chemistry. Now the role is marketing manager or a digital marketing manager. I have done BSc in biology. Do you think I'm relevant for the job? Do I have the knowledge about it? No, I do not have. I'm from a very different background. But me as a candidate, I only read, oh boss, graduation in any stream. No, I'm eligible. Now to hell with the recruiter, to hell with the company. Let me take chance, and maximum is what? They will reject me. And this is how number of applications go up. 5 plus years of experience. 5 plus years is 5 also, 6 also, 7 also. I'm 15 years of experience. Let me take a chance here. 15 is 5 plus, no? Maybe they like something in my profile. And this is I'm just talking of the candidate mindset. And I apply for the job. And Mahesh is sitting on the other side of the table, receives the profile. Oh, 15 years of experience. What kind of people are these? They just apply for it. So Mahesh will simply reject my profile. And like my, there would be so many other profiles. So we have to be very specific while. I'm sorry, I think there is some disconnection. Hmm. I have to be very specific while creating a job posting. So the description should be as specific as possible to remove any traces of ambiguity. The language needs to be simple to make it comprehensible by the larger audience. The structure has to be simple and logical. And when we are designing this competency framework, the framework should be relevant for all people using it and being affected by it. I'll come to it. Framework should take into account unexpected changes that might create organizational transactions, which means that it should clearly outline the behaviors that describes the manner in which job incumbents are to perform in immediate and midterm future. So Mahesh, this answers your question. It should clearly outline the behaviors. It shouldn't be a technical skill. There should be no duplication or repetition of behaviors. The behavior should be distinct and describe just one aspect or behavior. Combination of two aspects may lead to a situation where an individual might be good at the first but poor at the second aspect. Is this clear?
Yes, Vivek, like you're saying, one will be good and one will not be like not up to mark. Suppose if in the two behaviors this candidate is moderately reached our expectation, then what's the scenario?
Let me show you a bar, then I'll describe this.
Yeah.
Why this point is raised. Uh, Anything else? Debalina, I think Nazmin is not there. Vivek, Kritik,
Yes.
No, sir,
any
no question.
no question.
No doubts and no
Got.
questions.
The framework should be relevant for all the people using it and being affected by it. What does this mean? I don't have a copy of it, otherwise I would have shown you. Like morning, I was reviewing this for JC Penny. I told you, this girl is creating the competency framework, and she's learning with me. So we were reviewing one competency matrix that she had created. So she had taken three roles. One was an associate, one was a senior associate, and one was lead associate. So it
Okay.
was kind of a hierarchy: associate, then senior associate, then lead associates. At all the three levels, at an associate level, she had three competencies, and a senior associate level, she had five competencies, and a lead associate level, she again had a five competencies. But competencies, one competency was different from what she had in a senior associate level. So if you want to, I'll quickly open a word file and we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Let's use this Dibelinas file only. I'll share it. So let's say there is an associate. Then there is a senior associate. At associate level 3 she had 3 competencies. So it could be actually we'll take something from here only. Communication, then can you see both of them? Associate and lead associate.
Yes.
Now in associate she had taken 3 competencies: communication, time management, quality of work. And senior associate, yes, these 3 competencies were there, but team management and attention to details were also added.
Yes.
Now what will be the problem that you will face in this?
In generally, like this team management things, not everyone will reach up to the mark because some people gain the experience, but they are not well
See,
with people
the
management.
logic is team management is not needed at associate level because there is an individual role.
Yes, it's an individual contributor. Yes.
So that is why she has not mentioned it there.
Okay.
For that example, let's say attention to detail is also like that. Now what would be the problem? So if Mahesh is working as an associate, it is a very natural process, it's a very human process that we focus on only on those skills on which we are to be evaluated. Right? I will focus
Yes.
on communication, time management, and quality of work because end of the day, these are the 3 areas where I'm going to get evaluated, and my
Yes.
increments, my growth will be a result of this. Right? So I will not, and anyways, my work doesn't ask for team management in detail, so I'll simply ignore it. Okay, whenever I'll become senior associate, let me see what I'll do, how I learn team management. This is how it works, right?
Yes.
Now, the growth at your work, the promotion at the work is not a result of what you do. And please understand, most all of you are at a very initial stage of your career or are about to start career. And this is a lesson learned after 25 years of my corporate life, and we have learned it the hard way. The promotions that we get or the growth at work that we get is not a result of these areas, these skills on which we are evaluated. The growth is always a result of potential that you have for the next level. So if Mahesh is an employee working at an associate level and communication, time management, quality of work, his performance is super. But is that a reason I should promote Mahesh to a senior associate level? Because that's what Mahesh is expecting. But in order to make Mahesh a senior associate, I'll see whether Mahesh can manage team or not.
Yes.
whether Mahesh can, focus on details or not. And I have no way to check that whether, because Mahesh has not worked on those things, no? Mahesh has not even developed those skills. So despite of good work, Mahesh may get some increments, but Mahesh will not get a promotion. And that is why when it says, when you talk of competencies, it should be for a job family, so that every level in that same category should have similar kind of competencies. So Mahesh knows I can make it not applicable in that associate level. So Mahesh knows that yes, at this level I don't need team management, but if I have to grow to the next level, I should to show team management. So why not I start doing some activities, I take some initiatives, I volunteer myself something in order to get promoted to the next level. Are you getting it?
Yes.
Yes, just
I'll
clear
I'll
about
I'll
this.
because I'll tell you, when I joined Tally, I joined them as a learning and development manager for a particular region. I was in Delhi. There came a time after 6 months, no, the education wing of Tally was launching online certification across the country, and they had to do this user test throughout the different location to see whether the test is being done effectively or not. The team they had were not able to do it. Somehow, the corporate team reached out to me, Vivek, can you help me in this? Because I had my roots into education system. I said, just don't worry. So I volunteered. It was not my KRS. It was not a task assigned to me, but yes, out of my own interest and because I had a lot of free time as an L&D thing, I said, don't worry, sir. I'll take care of it. Their teams were traveling across locations, cities, and I sitting in Delhi, I covered almost every north, right from Jammu Kashmir to Chhattisgarh was also part of north that point in time. Without moving out of office, we could complete it. I had shown certain competencies, certain skills that were not needed in my current role. That was the coordination of it and managing it, and that was project management. And what was the reward that I got? While this process was going on, this was not complete. I got a call from Bangalore one day, Vic, would you like to come to Bangalore? I said, no, why not? Because Bangalore was a dream job. Within an hour, decision was taken. Very next day, I flew to Bangalore and I was given a charge of head of operations and education. Why? Because the person who was heading the head of operation, there was a fallout between him and the vice president, and he was kicked out. The position was empty, and it was critical because workers is taken between, and I had showcased that and that activity. I became an obvious choice. So my dream was fulfilled. I moved from Delhi to Bangalore without even asking. I got increment in the job. I got a better position and better responsibilities. And it was not because what I was doing. It was because I had showcased something that was needed at a different level. And which is why carefully you will have to design a competency framework. Yet each individual must have a visibility on how do I move ahead. It's like in the mid of the sea. You don't know where to go. Everywhere it looks the same. So you will eventually not move. You will just stuck there. Your boat will not move. You will stop it because you have an ambition. If I go right straight, I could wrong go to a wrong place. Right, left, you don't know. And that's where as an individual performer, as an employee, you must have a visibility on how to move ahead. And that brings in performance in employees. And this is what we meant When it's said, I'll come back to the same presentation again. Uh, the framework should be relevant for all the people using it and being affected by it. All position within that job, within that department, or for that matter, even for an organization, each employee should be covered under it. Now, it depends on how you implement it. In some organizations, like I've seen this, which company is this? There's some large MNC into healthcare space in Hyderabad. Novartis. Novartis, they are doing it project wise because this is a huge organization. They are huge teams. They are doing competency frameworks team wise. Even JC Penney, they are doing it team wise. But Tally being at a small organization, we did it organization wide. For the whole organization, there was a simple single framework. But what we did in Tally might not work in an organization like Infosys or TCS, where there are huge manpower. There we can do it project wise, where we could do it team wise, department wise, function wise. That depends on. Based on this, that whole competency framework is done. So, what is the scope of competency framework that needs to be determined? Am I clear?
Yes, yes, Vivek bhai. Yes, I've got it.
Good. So now we come to the bars. The bars were developed in response to dissatisfaction with the subjectivity involved in using traditional scales, such as a graphic rating scale. I'll come to graphic rating scale later. A review of bars concluded that the strength of this rating format may lie primarily in performance dimensions, which are gathered rather than distinction between behavioral and numerical. Appraisals, you would have heard a lot about appraisals. Kritik, have you ever faced appraisals in your organization?
Not personally, no.
Okay. Or maybe, industry wise, if you see, no, appraisal is a process. It scares everyone. And it is considered to be a negative process. Because appraisal again now, let me see if I get some increment. Let me see if I get a promotion. What has been happening is mostly, in most of the organization, the appraisal or the review of the work is very quantitative. Like in the sense, targets are given to you. Let's say you are a salesperson. So your target is you'll do X amount of sale or you'll do X crores of turnover. Very simple, End of the year or end of the period, I'll see you were given 100 numbers. You have done only 70. Your performance is low. Pro rata basis, I can make all those things. Is it the right way to do it? No, it isn't. Why? Because the sales that you have done is low or the sale might be high, could be a result of external factors. So now let's say I'm a software reseller. I'm working with an IT firm and my job is to sell accounting softwares. My target is I have to sell 100 pieces throughout the year. Midway during the year and my performance was okay. By midway, let's say by half year, I had to sell 40 pieces. I could only sell 20 pieces. Suddenly after 6 months, no, 7 month, our prime minister got awakened and he launched GST. And suddenly every business started running about accounting software. So I could sell only 50%, 20 out of 40 in first 6 months. In next 1 month, I sold 120 pieces. Does that make me a champion's salesman? No. It is the impact of external market. But I will get a decent promotion and a decent hike because I have overachieved my numbers. Now imagine that GST was only implemented in selected states, and Taruna was one salesperson working in MP, and MP government had decided not to implement GST. So
Yes.
this poor girl had no impact of the business. She is still struggling. Is her performance low? By that standard, yes, if you compare the two. But then she has not got that advantage. And this is where a thought was to add more qualitative measure to it. A quantitative measure is always not a true reflection of your performance.
Correct. The same thing which is faced by myself.
See, 2020 was a bad dream for everyone, no?
Yes.
Imagine there was no one to buy it. Why? How to sell it? And this is where a lot of qualitative measures have been brought in. And this we have faced in Tally. And this is why we included a lot of qualitative measure like salesperson. It was a typical product sale company. Most software it should sell. You should buy. You should sell increasingly every month. So salesmen, what they did, our salespeople, what they used to do was they'll go and sit in the dealer's office. It happens in every supply chain and every FMCG kind of a company. If you see all these grocery shops and the shops that you have, the dealer comes and pushes product to them. So some new product is coming, hey, take 100 pieces. And shopkeeper put, sir, this will not sell. Don't worry, keep it in the stock. When it sells, give me the money. Now shopkeeper keeps that stock. कि ठीक है, I have to respect him, otherwise he will delay my deliveries. Anyways, I don't have to pay money. In company, how I am showing it is, I have sold these many products. The payment is outstanding. So in the company's book of account, debt is increasing, sale
Okay.
has gone ahead. Eventually, that money is never going to come back unless the product sells.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
what is happening is you have inflated the sale when it was not done, and at the same time, in the that shopkeeper will also lose some amount of confidence in you.
Hmm.
Because you will unnecessarily push. Now, company will always recover that amount from you, no? Company does
Yes.
not matter what promises were given or something. Boss, you have kept that item for 6 months, no? Give me paying some money. So this is where dissatisfaction breeds in. And this is where a quantitative measure only leads to a lot of problem. And that's where, qualitative aspects were introduced. Now, what are qualitative aspects? The behavioral aspect.
Okay.
And that's where we choose competencies. You might be overachieving your numbers, but have you followed the right methods? Have you lived into those competencies that were given to you? And if you have not adhered to those competencies, your performance is not good.
So I just want to know, when it comes to this behavioral anchoring scale,
Hmm.
uh, how does the corporates use them, and like which platform do they use? Is it hiring or is it performance? Where do they use it?
At all levels. Hiring also, when the interviews are happening,
Hmm.
all the situational interviews, all those structured interviews
Hmm.
are a result of the bars. You know
Okay.
what behaviors are needed in this person,
Okay.
and then you put them some questions, scenario based questions, to see whether these behaviors exist or not.
Okay.
Like, say for instance, again, I got a call from Cognizant, and this was early 2000.
Mm.
I don't exactly remember, but I think 2003. Cognizant in Chennai were looking for a learning and development manager.
Okay.
I saw that and I applied for it. My CV got screened.
Mm.
There was a telephonic interview and I cleared that,
Mm.
and they flew me to Chennai. The morning flight I took, I reached Chennai straight. I went to their office. The person who was heading the learning and development of Cognizant that point in time was some retired army officer.
Okay.
He came down to the reception, and I'm sharing my experience how the hopes were built. He took me to a cafeteria and took me to his room. We had a coffee. Then he introduced me to the interviewers. He never said these are interviewers; these were team members. And by that time, afternoon had come, and then Tamil Nadu being very specific about the lunch time. By 12:30, we went for lunch and had lunch. And by this time, I was getting a lot of confidence. I was very happy. They are so friendly people, such a friendly people, and we have got gelled so much. It should be a cakewalk. After the lunch, we entered into the interview room. There were 8 people sitting interviewing me. And I thought, why so many people? But then they grilled me, and their questions were simple. I got stuck at one point in time, and I didn't realize at that point in time, but now I very well understood what they were looking at. Their simple question was, Vivek, there is a training needed on a certain technology for which you do not have a resource in your team, and there is no enough budgetary provision to hire a vendor from outside. How will you manage this team? How will you manage this requirement? So I'd done a bit of it in the past. I said, fine, there are so many project team workings. I'm sure there would be some resource who would be good in this. I will borrow that resource for some time. ठीक है, he might not be a good trainer. I will spend some time with him, train him on this, and then he can take it. They said, very good. But suppose this team refuses to give you the resource. Why should a team lead release his resource for your training? What is he winning out of it?
Yes.
So
So,
now this is where the complexity started. And I was confident, full of confidence. No, no, don't worry, sir. We will do this, we will do that, and then somehow this stage also crossed. Somehow I'll get a resource. Suppose if this becomes a routine habit, we only give you the requirement which is critical, for which you don't have a resource, and they kept increasing the bar. And the last answer I remember very well. I was also fed up of those answers, and I said, "Sir, there's a limit to everything." I said this with a smile on my face. There is a limit to everything. I'll have to, put down my foot and I'll have to raise it. The interview got over there. I know after that there was just customary some here and there, and then that gentleman again took me to a cafe. We had a coffee. He explained me so many things, and he was a senior person for what is so good about me and what is not a little not good about me, and we will get back to you. We are in the process of. But that coffee discussion was enough to give me a hint. Was I'm not through, and I was actually not through. They were actually checking the behavioral aspect of me, how well I can take pressure, how do I
Yes.
react, how do I react in a situation where there is a lot of pressure. And it also showed them one thing: yeah, I've not faced this pressure in the past, because if I had faced that situation in the past, I would have been good solutions to it.
mm, okay.
And that's how, if you see, Vivek,
Mm,
bulk of rejections in the interview
mm,
are on the factors that were not even mentioned in the job description.
Oh,
You asked for, Mahesh would have seen this. Even Kritik to himself, he said he is doing a thorough screening. Generally the feedbacks that you get, the candidate has an attitude issue here. He had a poor communication. He could not express himself. He has not done his homework. Where in which job description do you write? You study about the company before coming to the interview.
it's implied.
Yes, I've given one live scenario, Vivek. By couple
Hmm.
of days, it's happened. I was there on the call when the interview started.
Hmm.
We are hiring for embedded firmware guy for Chennai. Call
Okay.
got started and everything got set. Panel and everyone joined.
Hmm.
Interview started and the interviewer asked couple of questions. He
Hmm.
just half-heartedly answered the questions, and when the interviewer asked, "Hey, yeah, are you prepared for the interview?" He said, "Yeah, I'm well versed. We can just carry on with the discussion." He said, after 45 minutes of call, "Sir, I need few more days of time. I'm not prepared well for the interview." Then simply we had dropped off from the call, and in a span of 20 minutes I got an update: this guy is a reject because he's not well prepared.
No,
We can't judge him.
Mahesh, this is a very simple case. The guy himself said, I'm not well. I'm not of that level that I can handle you. But
No,
imagine,
but
huh,
for
see,
some roles now,
it
Vivek
it
bhai, we
is
give
it
a
is
chance.
it is very stupid of someone who midway during the interview says, "Sir, I'm not prepared. Can we have it again?" It's like you are performing on a stage and suddenly you missed it. Sorry, next
Yes.
I'll again come tomorrow and to perform.
Even we ask him, are you prepared for the interview? Because initial two questions or three questions only, he half-heartedly answered it. Then we thought he's not well prepared for the interview. Then we asked him. But he said confidently, yeah, we can continue, we can carry on with the discussion, he said. But
So
ultimately,
this is more less of a behavioral issue, more of a
yeah,
knowledge issue. Now, two,
yes,
three questions shook his confidence. He ran away,
yeah,
and he also knew he will not get a second chance. But
yes,
to escape, he said, "I'm not prepared." So those are so. But yes, a complex behavior. So it could be interview. It could also be at the time of your performance appraisals.
yes,
He like let's say this poor girl Taruna could not achieve her numbers. But let's see if Taruna has given her best of the effort. Did she follow the company norms? Did she follow those behavioral elements that she was supposed to do? And if she had followed that, she should get a credit for it.
yes,
So typically what we do is like what we did in Tally was, and generally it happens everywhere, we combine the numerical, the qualitative as well as the quantitative aspect during the review. So
yes,
yes, Taruna got low grades due to because she could not achieve the numbers, but her behavioral elements were good. She made good efforts to it, and she gets a credit for it. So it balances out somewhere, and this
Unfortunately,
is this is where a true employee, a real employee who's putting it the best of the effort, is not penalized for not achieving quantitative numbers. Getting it?
unfortunately, in the BPOs, it's completely vice versa. BPOs,
Uh-huh.
yes.
RPOs, it's completely vice versa. They
I
only
know.
look for the
Uh,
numbers.
Vivek, I guess you are Vivek. I guess he's on call now. What you are saying is exactly 200% correct because few of the folks who have worked in who are working as an RPOs or else in BPOs na.
Hmm.
Now, recently, a couple of weeks back, like two of my friends got PIP, Vivek Bal. Why you got PIP? I question him. We are running shortage of clients and we are unable to achieve our targets. Then what's your problem? You are not the right person to take the PIP. Your
Hmm.
lead or else the concerned manager have to take.
Hmm.
But finally, these folks who are supporting to the team, they've been quitted from the organization and they put down the resignations.
This is because there is no structured framework there.
Yes.
I,
And
I, I
sometimes
know
I
one
felt,
RPO. I know one RPO in Bangalore. We were operating from the same office space before lockdown, and this
okay.
guy was always very arrogant. He was a very senior profile into ages before starting his own business. And at that point in time, the number of recruiters that were on his roll were about 120.
Oh,
And in all the meetups, he was like, "Do you have any extra resource? Don't worry, I have enough business." So, no, he will not even listen to you what you do. So, generally, this co working space was organizing a lot of, community lunches and also where we used to meet the co founders. So, he was
yes.
always had this. Recently, 2 weeks back, I saw his post on LinkedIn. He was looking for a job. From 120 recruiters, he has himself become a job seeker. And not that the market has finished. You have not followed any standard systems and structured in place, and this is bound to happen. And this is where people start to hate recruiting. Mahesh, you have experienced this. When you first met me, you were working with a third party firm kind of a thing,
Yes.
and then you were also very negative about it. Mahesh,
God,
when
correct.
Mahesh when first met me, he wanted to leave recruiting and want to get into training. And this is why Mahesh came to me. I want to get into training. I said, why training? I have seen there is no pressure in it. Mahesh, you remember your answer. There is no
Yes.
pressure on it. It's
Is it
very
a myth,
simple. I
right?
can do it.
Is it a myth, right? I mean,
Huh?
this is a myth, right? Training does not have any pressure. This
Ask
is a
me.
myth.
Yes.
Ask me.
200,
Yeah.
200% it's a myth, yeah, because I've seen when I'm just hiring for L&D lead for Qualcomm, na, I've been interviewed, my team been interviewed 15 to 20 candidates.
Okay.
The way we are just interviewed and the expectations I've seen, na, it's not easy.
Yesterday also one guy told me, like, there are some training people in this his company. They are always like chill. So I don't know why did that. He doesn't have a complete picture to say that, because what he was just saying was the appearance or the things which he monitors, what he sees, and he just repeating what he's just
See,
seeing that.
see, see the
And
latest.
that's not the work. He's not seeing the work. He's only seeing that appearance, and he only seeing that.
Exactly. Exactly. I may dress out well. I may wear a big smile on my face. And when I walk out, you only see what is evident. The poor trainer has
And
to go through so many
yes,
things.
yeah.
So
And we've just finally now Vivek bhai for L&D lead specialist for Bangalore. Finally, we've been interviewed two folks. One is a female candidate. She's from Karnataka only.
hmm,
She's totally each and every part in Karnataka, but she's a physically handicapped lady.
okay.
And the project what we are just looking now, majorly there should be a travel between interstates and countries also. That's the only thing. I've just felt very sad in the final when we are just giving an update to that lady now. She said, oh, totally, I'm happy, Mahesh, for your honest feedback, but I'll have a great experience with you guys, but ultimately we've just lost a good candidate. Still we have been putting putting her in the references list. If we got any opening, first we'll consider her.
Correct. I'll
I think there's one more thing. If you can do
uh,
it, it would be greater.
hmm,
Speak to heads of the company. See if some any position can be created for that candidate. Because some things may not be fit for you right now. But some candidates you have to create position, but that rarely happens.
correct.
I'm just guys
Yeah,
for
I know,
everyone.
I know, I know.
I'm just, I'm just revealing this just internal framework, but don't reveal to anyone. In
No, no, no.
generally, when Qualcomm hires senior folks, especially for leads and who reports to vice presidents, these people won't look for headhunting. Directly, they'll close the position with previous interview references,
Okay.
or
No,
else
that
they'll
is that
keep.
is that will keep varying from an organization to organization perspective. Now
Yeah.
the point that I was trying to drive across was, these smaller agencies have actually added a very bad thing, a bad reputation to a recruiter's job,
Correct.
and that's where people feel scared of getting into recruitment. But when you are
Hmm.
doing like Mahesh have experienced when doing it for Qualcomm, or Kritik was sharing his experience when he's doing for textbook. I have another boy from Delhi who is shifting to Bangalore now. He's not a qualified HR also. He just got a job into HR as a recruiter, and he's very happy. I said, is there a pressure on you? Bula sir, last 6 months I have closed 2 positions. Imagine just 2 positions in 6 months. And he says, sir, there is no pressure on me. So I'm happy working there. Now this startup has decided to shift from Delhi to Bangalore, so he's moving to Bangalore now. So that was, the perspective changes. And this is where this behavioral aspects comes in. Because those RPOs
Even
are only focused on numbers.
even the attrition rate and everything, with mainly the major cause of this targets and numbers. Even the good performers cannot perform every month in a similar way,
Correct.
and they're just going into PIP. If a
That's
performer just get into PIP, he feels demotivated and they put down the resignation immediately.
PIP is meant for that only, no?
Yes.
Find yourself another opportunity.
Yeah.
Chalo, anyway, so bars are used to eliminate all these things. Benefits,
So bars is basically a combination of critical incidents and the rating method.
right? Bars are behavioral benchmarks.
That's what critical incidents is.
Exactly. And this is where I asked Debulina to write challenges. And I asked you guys to write challenges. Let's say competency is creative thinking. How do you measure creative thinking? Now
It's
Debulina has taken this competency. Debulina, you are there, no?
Yes, sir.
How do you measure critical thinking?
The capability of coming up with new ideas, innovative ideas.
How do you know whether he came with an innovative idea or not? Like bulk of the creative posts on LinkedIn's are copied somewhere.
Mhm.
So someday,
critical thinking came up with the situational based Vivek bhai. We can just came up with the situations.
exactly, those are critical incidents. We have to set
Yes.
benchmarks like our parents used to do with us, no, when we were small. You should not take things for someone else. You should obey
Yeah.
everyone. They used to set behavioral benchmarks, and we were evaluated on that. Now you have been obeying us, you are following us. Chalo, we'll take you out. will treat you with something because your behavior was good. And that's exactly what we do in bars. I think it's become a too long a session, almost 2 hours now. How are you guys available tomorrow? Can we continue this discussion tomorrow?
Yes, yes, Vivek, bye.
Because I am free.
Same
I'm
time or
Same time.
stay.
No,
So
because we brought it to a level, the gap in between one day, so we can close the bars tomorrow
okay.
if all are available, or else we'll do it day after tomorrow.
So not a problem for me.
Good. So your classes are not there. Kritik, how about you?
yeah, I'm available.
Great. Taruna,
I'm available.
wonderful. So Mahesh, you'll be there, no?
Yeah, I'll be
So
available. And
Mahesh, yeah.
yeah, one
Yeah,
more thing, Vivek,
but
bye. Yeah.
can we finish little soon tomorrow? Like whether 8 to 9 or 9:15?
Finish.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
We'll try to, at the worst case, we'll try to wind up by 9:30.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
9:15, yeah, that's fine.
And that's why I'm stopping it. I just saw it as already 9:45.
Okay,
So though my evening has started just now, but
okay.
for you it may not be an evening. So I'll stop it here and we'll continue this tomorrow.
Okay.
Sure.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Chalo, then we'll connect tomorrow.
Yes.
Anyways, they have recorded this session because Nazmin is not there, Shravani is not there, so they can have it. Done?
Yes,
Chalo, then
Vivek, bye.
good night. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye. Yeah.
Once.